In the quiet rural heart of Brazil, under a moonlit sky at 3 in the morning, everything seems peaceful until the sound of destruction breaks the silence. It's not thunder or farm machinery, it's something far worse. Across the vast sugarcane fields, a rumbling herd of wild hybrid beasts known as the Java porcos charges forward like a storm of muscle and fury. By sunrise, months of backbreaking work vanish, wiped out by the most dangerous invaders farmers have ever faced. These aren't ordinary pigs. They are crossbred monsters, born from European wild boar and domestic pigs. Powerful, intelligent, and terrifyingly efficient. For generations, Brazilian farmers fought them with technology, electric fences, traps, and rifles. But all modern solutions failed. The Java porcos adapted faster than any defense. They tore down fences, avoided traps, and multiplied until entire regions were living in fear. But when technology gave up, human determination took over. João, a 58-year-old sugarcane farmer from São Paulo state, had already lost 2 harvests and nearly everything he owned. With no money left for expensive defenses, he picked up the most primitive tool known to mankind, a shovel. He began digging trenches, 5 feet deep and 3 feet wide, wrapping them around his fields. It was a desperate act, born from necessity, not innovation. Yet the results were astonishing. Within weeks, damage to crops fell by over 90%. By the end of the season, there were 0 pig intrusions. The Java porcos simply couldn't cross. No electricity, no technology, no moving parts. Just a silent, natural barrier that worked better than anything else. Word spread fast across rural Brazil. Farmers began organizing trench cooperatives, joining forces to defend their lands using the simplest and most effective method imaginable. The movement quickly became known as the Trench Revolution, transforming agriculture across entire regions and saving thousands of livelihoods. But this newfound solution wasn't without its challenges. When the rainy season arrived, the same trenches that stopped wild boars filled with mud and water, becoming dangerous hazards. Tractors slid in, workers got injured, and local wildlife sometimes fell victim to the traps meant for invaders. Maria Santos, another farmer, learned the risks firsthand when her son's tractor tumbled into a trench hidden by morning fog. Across the region, similar accidents forced farmers to add warning signs, reflective markers, and wooden bridges for safety. Despite the complications, one fact remained unchanged: the trenches worked. They stopped the boars, protected the crops, and restored hope to farming families who had nearly lost everything. Over time, the smartest farmers began to see beyond individual trenches and started thinking strategically. They connected their systems, building continuous defensive networks that stretched for miles. These agricultural fortresses redirected herds away from entire valleys, using cooperation and planning instead of expensive machinery. Farmers began sharing intelligence, studying animal behavior, tracking herd movements, and reinforcing weak spots before disaster struck. This network of trenches became Brazil's silent shield, a collective defense built from the earth itself. The result was not just protection from the Java porcos, but a complete transformation in how farmers approach their land. They became defenders, not victims, strategists instead of survivors. Today, these trenches stand as symbols of resilience and unity. They represent the unbreakable spirit of farmers who refuse to surrender to chaos. In a world obsessed with digital solutions and artificial intelligence, Brazilian farmers proved that human ingenuity, teamwork, and determination still reign supreme. A simple shovel achieved what millions of dollars in technology could not. Every harvest protected by these trenches tells a story of survival and defiance. A reminder that when faced with impossible odds, people can always find a way. When you enjoy Brazilian sugarcane, corn, or soybeans, you're tasting the victory of those who fought the silent war against the Java porcos. These farmers dig not because they want to, but because they must. To protect their families, their futures, and their way of life. Their story is not just about pigs and trenches. It's about courage, adaptation, and the unstoppable will to survive. If you've ever faced a challenge that seemed impossible, remember the lesson of the Brazilian farmers. When technology fails, determination wins. Their fight against the wild boar invasion is proof that innovation doesn't always come from laboratories or machines. It comes from the human heart. This is more than a story about farming. It's a story about survival, resilience, and the courage to fight back against overwhelming odds. So, next time you look at a simple shovel, remember, it once saved an entire region from destruction.